So then once he's like losing his shit and I have an idea of what he's saying, it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
And then the auto-tune. Oh.
The auto-tune is spectacular.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
he's going to clap.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wildly Uninteresting Podcast, episode number 151. 151!
Damn, I should have brought wild turkey.
With the amazing Danny Tyler.
No!
A.K.A. Danny. Or Danner.
oldie.
Wild
Or Danna
ant.
Ding Ding Dong.
POTUS.
Welcome back to the show, man.
Uncle D, yeah. What's
Thank you
going
for
on,
coming
man?
back, man.
I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate you coming all the way out here. You come from You hail from Indiana.
I come from across the river.
I hate that place.
He swam, and then he walked.
How you been,
And then he
man?
I
ran.
use sticks.
Yes.
Not too bad. You know, no complaints.
Yeah, living the dad life still.
Yeah,
Unless
contemplating life.
No, he
And
killed his kids.
Yeah.
unlife.
On life. That's you had just something about the kids the other day, and I was thinking about it. I was like, what if your kid grows up to be like a drug addict and like robs you? What would you do? Do you think you would disown your kid?
Just blame it on the wife.
I mean, it depends on what they rob. I mean, like, if it's just money or whatever for their addiction, it's kind of that's their plight. That's what they're going through. You can't be that mad about it. But
Right.
I mean, if they, I don't know, what would they steal that would make me upset?
See, that's one
Your
of those-
other kid.
Like if they,
So the other
like, I don't really have a family heirloom, but like something with like little value but high meaning to like me
Yeah.
or Jess, my wife, that would be upsetting.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm like, I know you're battling something. I know this isn't necessary. This is you, but
Yeah.
this isn't your decision. This is something you're chemically just deciding, and it's not really a thought out process.
I know. I've thought about that. Like, I know my parents didn't, which I didn't really take a lot from them, but I know somebody who did, and they didn't get really mad or upset. They were just, and oddly enough, that you say the heirloom thing, because I think that some things that were taken were like my mom's stuff from her mom, and it baffled me how much they were just like, I don't know. They dealt with it shitty right at first. They were like, I can't believe you.
Right.
And then they like grew to be like, well, it's just material possessions. One day I'm not going to live anymore,
Right.
and I can't have it with me. So,
But I mean,
But you can
in the
take those
moment,
heirlooms.
yeah.
gotta get those heirlooms.
In the moment, it would
In the
be
moment,
terrible.
it's hard. I could probably see myself flying off the handle, and hopefully I'd be able to rein myself back in or not go too
tough.
far in the moment where I can walk it back, you know.
Yeah, because how would you deal with that too? Is like if they you're like sending them out like, get out of here, right? And then like they go and get hurt or something. Like, it'd be rough. Like, how do you as a parent
Get
do
out of
anything?
my sight. I wish I had never had you. I'm so sorry.
I know. My mom used to not hit. I'm not gonna say like she hit me because I'm like, you know, I was abused as a kid like that.
No.
But she would not, like, she was very short, so we were much taller than her. So she would resort to violence pretty quickly in an argument.
Well, plus, if a woman resorts to violence, it's really not that bad.
No shit.
You ain't never been hit by his mom, have you?
She's an asshole. But no, that's
Let's have her on. Let her hit me.
she's punched me quite a few times when I deserved it, man. And yeah, I give it up to her for that. Like, but she can fly off the handle, as in like hit you in the nuts or like punch you in the face. She's definitely like that, man.
If a woman hits you, it's not that big of a deal. She hit me in the nuts. God!
Some things are unforgivable.
Yeah. Sometimes she can get crazy, man. But she would always come back like right after that and be like, you know, try to like clean you up and I'm sorry I hit you and stuff like that. So she never feared from being like sorry about it, but she'd hit the fuck out of you to let you know she was like serious. You know what I mean?
And I can understand that initially, but after a while, if it's a repetitive thing, it's like, okay, clearly you're not working at this issue. You're
Right.
not trying to improve
You're
it.
just hitting me.
You're just
Yeah.
just thinking about it afterwards.
Yeah.
And not considering that you'll do it again.
Yeah.
So let's try to work on this.
Maybe you can reflect on yourself, though. I'm not changing this behavior that's causing her to hit me in the nuts.
So really,
You know-
two people need to be
Yeah.
doing some work.
I'm just big on victim blaming.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. You know, don't make me do this. Is my thing.
Ian. That's I've gotten a kick out of reading your Facebook post because there's some. I feel like more people get mad, but I feel like Facebook has took you out of the algorithm. They're just like, this guy's
Yeah.
just not gonna quit with this
Plus, I
stuff.
assume everybody's just unfollowed me.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody that
I'll
had a
still
problem.
be your friend, so if I see you in the mall, but I don't care what you have to say. And that's fine.
My favorite one was when Casper was like, I would have unfollowed you a long time ago.
Yeah, dude.
You
She
should have
married
shirts made that's like following since 1943.
No shit.
This is why we shouldn't give everybody a platform to say whatever they want.
No?
I was watching a thing though about that's what brings it up, a thing about addiction and then like the kids, and then they were talking to the parents, and I don't know what it's like to be a parent with a kid with addiction, but I know like the other side, and seeing how like this guy I mean, it broke me to pieces, man. I was in the car about to cry and shit. I mean, literally like the dad was like didn't even have the words to express like the pain he felt. He's like, they could be dying like right now. And
Right.
as I'm talking to you, and I can't do nothing about it, and they stole from him, of course. But still, I mean, he loved them and was like, they're welcome to come and get help with me and all that shit. But like, at a certain point, I guess you have to like turn your back on your child
That was
to
always
better them, you know?
Yeah.
my parents' thing is, you know, you can always come home, but you're not doing drugs, and we'll help you get help and stuff. And when I was ready, they did. I mean, they took me to meetings. Mom literally went to meetings with me, and she took me to work. Eventually, I was able to do all that stuff myself with their car. But, you know, I mean, and you let me use your vehicle to go visit him.
Yeah,
And
boy.
I mean, sometimes I walked, and sometimes I walked to meetings. Luckily, I never had to walk to work. But
What is happening here?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was your phone.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not it.
let's-
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Move
You
it. Oh, you gotta move
motherfucker.
your, throw your phone.
Fucking that off.
Well, that's been Danny Tyler. Thanks for coming by.
yeah,
See y'all later.
Fucking shit up.
how did this occur?
Oh, I don't know.
That was
Practice.
also Danny Tyler. Thanks for coming by.
I guess I'll never be on this
2 for
show
2.
again.
No,
Magician.
earlier I watched Jason Mewes on Steve-O's podcast talking about Mewes' addiction, and he was talking about the way Kevin Smith handled it. And he was like, "Look, man, I love you, but you can't come in for Thanksgiving. I can't.
Yeah.
My kid's getting older. She can't see you fucked up like this. So we used to tell her that you had a cold or something, but no,
Too
right
old at
now.
this
So he just
point.
took him a plate of food out, and he's like, "Happy Thanksgiving, man."
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
That's
he
awesome.
he pulled the car to the rents. He's like, I'll happily help you get better. He took it to rehab and shit all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the
But-
time.
But now he's like 11 years sober or
Yeah.
whatever. So
And
Yeah.
they live
Yeah.
right down the street from each other.
He looks like
They walk
10
their dogs
times,
and shit.
He looks 10 times better. I guess in all the movies leading up to him getting sober, he was using because he looks
Yeah.
10 times better. I wonder what he could, because I think he does some stand up now, but I wonder what he could like create now that he's sober. Maybe it's terrible like Eminem's
well, I mean,
music.
he's still
No
Jay.
Right.
so-
Yeah.
I think he's on Twitch. I think he plays video games.
Nice, dude. Who was that
I'd
on
watch him play
Steve-O's
video games.
Right.
Steve-O's podcast that were they were saying they made more off Twitch than they did off their record sales. That was like T-Pain was
Yeah.
saying, yeah.
Awesome.
He was like, I make more on that. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah,
And
make a good record. That'll change.
He makes wonderful music.
he was a
What
part
was
of
the
a
last
group.
album of his you listened to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Full
Club
album, probably whenever I was in high school. But I've listened to some music, not the whole, like, fucking all the way through. I don't listen to any albums all the way through, ever. I haven't.
I listened to his new album, Headphones. It was pretty good.
Fuck you, D.
Thank you.
I have no clue. I don't think I've heard a T-Pain song.
It's bullshit. I haven't
Oh, okay,
listened to
cool.
it.
Wait, you haven't heard a T-Pain
But is
song?
that what it's called?
No.
Oh,
that's not
okay.
the one.
Okay.
God. I was going to believe you.
Well, fuck you.
Tanner's lying is on point.
I had to pull an Ian on Ian.
Yeah.
Ian on Ian.
Ian
I
on
appreciate
Ian.
that. I
Yeah.
wish you would just, like, let it
I
ride.
should have.
I know.
I'm too good of a person.
Fuck
You
you.
keep telling yourself that.
Ego.
Would you
No.
would you push your kid into doing work as an actor or a musician just to get paid off his back?
Absolutely.
Oh, shit.
No.
If it was like for a good director, yeah. David Lynch comes knocking.
Oh
I
yeah.
need your baby.
I need
Okay.
definitely.
Do you have a contract? Nope. All right.
Bring it back when you're done.
Like no questions asked. Yeah,
I need
sure.
your baby.
I don't think I'd make my kid do anything.
Take that same one from somebody else and let me know your reaction. Besides David Lynch.
I'm gonna need a team of lawyers for anybody else.
A team of them, not even just one.
No.
Skate the book, man.
Scott Baio comes up.
Oh God.
I need your baby.
Say the blah 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 line.
I think somebody would give them the baby though, depending on how much.
Multiple people
Yeah,
would.
I know. I dated 2 girls.
At
One
the
I
same
married,
time.
not her, but
Picture it didn't happen.
that their parents sold them. And I mean that in like the best way possible. So the one got a stepdad, and
Yeah,
then,
to crackheads.
yeah, and both of them were like suffering from addiction, but they were like, "Sure, you can have her, and you can have all the rights. Give me $5,000, and we'll be good." And of course, both of them got paid. Both of them were sold to a family member. And I was like, "What is it about
Okay.
me?"
To a family member.
Yeah,
Okay.
to a family member and
like-
to a stepmom.
To
Yeah,
Japan.
Yeah, like that makes it better.
I mean, it's less bad.
It's definitely less
Oh, I
bad.
sold it to Dante at 7-Eleven.
That's
Where'd you get that money?
What
7-Eleven,
if
man.
Dante was their
7-Eleven
cousin?
Well, then that's fine. But he wouldn't be Dante the 7-Eleven guy.
I
He'd be
always-
Dante the 7-Eleven cousin.
That's right. I always found it crazy that he dated 2 different girls that were both sold by family members. Two family members.
God.
They had the same
Is Thomas
story.
Jefferson in your family?
Yes. No, that's it always baffled me too as well that I had 2, and it was like it had me questioning like who I was as a
Yourself?
person. Yeah. Like what am I doing to attract females this way that have issues? Like do I attract them because I think I can fix them and make it better
I
and
can
whatever?
smell the traffic on you.
Probably because I was like, "You're pretty," and they were like, "I have daddy issues." I'm like, "Dope, I'm here."
That's all right. I'll be your daddy.
So weird.
I don't, in some regards, I'll buy into that, especially if it has to do with more of a physical trait. But in regards of like, you like a specific type of woman with hair color or, a physical trait, doesn't necessarily mean that you like women with a certain issue. I don't think that correlation is always there.
Yeah.
No, but it
Like
is
it's-
with him.
It is with him.
I think I just got
I think that
unlucky.
might be the fish pool, where you were
Yeah.
looking
It was-
more than
Definitely.
No shit.
Just like the shitty pool.
It's a very shitty pool. No, it always baffled me though, man. I was always like the in between guy. They were like, I can have sex with this guy for my first time because he's probably bad at it, and then I can go out and whore myself. And then a run of like 10 to 15 girls. That's what happened. And I was like, what is wrong with me? There's something going on here. What am I like?
I'd be willing to wager they were too dumb to narrow it down as to what was wrong with you.
They're just like, this is what
Yeah.
happens. I like it.
Also willing to wager a bet that was not their thought process. That I bet this guy's terrible at sex. Let me fuck him for my first time.
Well, they were like, there's no pressure. Like I don't have to show off for the guy.
I guarantee you were probably nice.
Who wants to be that? Hey, I would tell my kid though to be nice. I think later in life that works out because there's a lot of single moms that I went to high school with. A lot of them. It blows me away how many single moms there are that are like wading through the waters, waiting for some guy to come around to like help them with the child. But it baffles me how many single moms, and a lot of those people come from the group of people in high school that were. Family was well off. They were baby. They were spoiled, shit like that. And it always like my mom wasn't afraid to be like, you're either going to wear a condom or your dick's going to fall off. And I was like, cool, condom it is. I don't want this thing to fall off.
Pillow pants is gonna get you.
Pillow. Took me a minute. I'm like, what? I get it now. This dope ass visor. Why would they choose a visor for a fast food company, bro? What about the
Man,
hairs
it
that
does look
fall
like
out?
you're working the drive-through right now.
It does. Shoots me like the little fucking speaker.
I feel like it was from a different time whenever you didn't have to wear all of that stuff.
They didn't worry about hair going into the food.
Yeah, they didn't care. Yeah.
Dude, we
Well,
should go
maybe-
back to that.
I've never worked fast food, so is it a situation where the people with the visors are like front counter and window, where they
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily be in the same area as the food?
Perhaps. I
Yeah.
feel like I still see visors.
Yeah, maybe
never
they
worked
have to
fast
wear
food
like
either.
a
I don't
hairnet
know.
with it.
I tend
Yeah,
to
if
not
you-
look at the people that are giving me my food.
I don't look at those peons.
They're beneath me. Just give me the fucking roast beef.
I was wondering, you work in a warehouse, right? That you have a lot of your employees are kind of like the easy turnover type of employees. You know what I'm talking about? Like in and out, whatever. Maybe.
I mean, it happens.
I was wondering if you all had a shortage of people to work. Are you all having that
No.
issue? How's that possible? Everybody's having a hard time finding employees. Are people lying to me? Is that what it is?
No, it's the jobs that you necessarily don't want, like a fast food job or a manual labor job that people don't want
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
That's in high demand because they can't find anybody to do it
Yeah.
for what they
Always
want
do
to
shit.
pay and for what they want to offer in benefits.
Dude, warehouse stuff. People are like, oh, I just got to walk around, pick up some socks. All
That's
right.
it. Yo,
And
that's
then it's too much for some of them.
Which is crazy.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. If it's a normal warehouse, like I worked in the warehouse at Circuit City, and you unload a truck a couple times a week, no big deal. But you work at Amazon, I mean, you got quotas for how many items you pick
Oh,
or
yeah,
stock
dude.
like
within a
Amazon's,
15, 20, 30-minute limit. And if you don't hit your quota,
Yeah.
see ya.
Yeah, it's
I
like
forgot about
Amazon's
that.
cool cousin, though.
No, well,
Where
yeah.
it's, yeah, like
A
at
little more laid
Amazon,
back.
it's like, oh, you can't even take a 5-minute poop
Right.
without them getting like all attack mode on you. But no, at this place, like people hit rate in like 30 minutes, and they're like, well, I'm gonna fuck off for the next. Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They set the bar low. I worked at a place called GSI that would you had to hit that, and people who didn't do it for like 3 days in a row, man, they would be out the door. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
UPS never had a quota. We had like so many like parcels that we unloaded airplanes, and you had so many that you had to unload a night, but you know there was a fuck ton of people and you didn't have to unload so many, but you know I
Can't
still
slack
busted my
off.
ass and would unload like
Yeah.
70,000.
It's like
but
you got a squad of people, and it's like, all right, let's pull it together and get this shit done.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
You wouldn't
don't-
get fired for not unloading X amount.
I was talking to Sarah about that, about the manual labor jobs and stuff. And I wish that they would tell kids when they get into the trade, which I'm not saying don't get into it. I think they're profitable. I think you can make money instead of going and like wasting money on school if that's not your thing. But I wish they would tell kids more that you're like, everybody in the trade at some point or another are broken down, like their back or their knees, or some of us work around like chemicals that eventually lead to cancer and that have been known to, because a lot of us don't wear the right respirators and do the work the way OSHA tells us to.
Because safety's not cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's much harder to work like that.
Absolutely.
So I wish that they were more honest, but now it makes me feel like if they were more honest with that, like we'd have nobody. Like
Yeah.
there'd be nobody in there. But yeah,
I was reading an article, I feel like it's the New York Times, where they said they're going to start giving steroids to people in the manual labor fields.
Yeah.
Really?
Are you
No.
fucking with me?
Oh.
Yeah.
I made that up.
I was gonna say that'd be awful for like healing and
Is
stuff.
that payback?
Yeah.
I feel like
You got Ian.
I feel like it'd be good for like healing and stuff, like healing your
Yeah.
muscles and all that. Which I don't know, like how frequently you can take steroids without it like fucking up your body.
I was thinking you get like a scrawny person in there. You're
Yeah.
like, we need you to be able to lift 70 pounds right now by yourself. Shoot me up, boss.
No, I was thinking like a round of steroids, not
Oh,
like
yeah.
black market steroids.
No.
So like if you were to, that's what they say with any drug, as long as that it's produced at a pharmaceutical company and it's clean and all that shit. Even when you're like talking about heroin or anything like that, cocaine, if used correctly, there's a way to correctly use drugs without like damaging your body.
Right.
So say they give them around to like 3 months. And then you have to take 3 to 4 months off to allow your body to get back its normal like androgen
Balance or,
androgen. Yeah. And and then you get that, and then you go back on a 3 months. So that's like your year thing. You can take it twice within that year, but you have to take the same amount of time off of
Right.
it in that year. Things like that. Like, I think that's where we're fucking up as a country. Like, they have outlawed like all drugs that make you feel good and shit. In reality, it's not the drugs that's the problem. It's the legality of it, because they make it dirty and then people use it wrong and
The
they're not
drugs don't get
educated.
you in trouble. The fact that it's a crime does.
They do, man. Like, it's just odd to me that we don't see the issue. We just like traumatize people for that shit. But if there's a right way to use everything, really,
Right.
I think.
Well, people are too focused on themselves. They want to make sure that they're feeling okay. So if they feel like an ounce of pain or they have to go through a night of discomfort, they don't want it.
Right.
So they just keep using and using and using, and then it becomes a problem.
Right.
Yeah, becomes a habit.
I do
But-
hate to come down.
Everybody. But that, no, the steroids in the manual labor trades is not a bad idea. That or like
Well,
HGH.
it's not great.
It's not a bad idea.
Why don't people just
though.
get fit?
Oh, that's possible. Yeah,
It would
probably.
still destroy your muscles in your body.
Well, yeah, but it's natural. God destroyed those muscles, not drugs.
God, dude. Yeah, a
God
lot
did
of them
that for
too
sure.
are they're addicted to something, or they're like what is it called when you can function? Oh yeah, functional addict or alcoholic.
Dependent.
They fucking drink every night. They fucking whatever, smoke weed all the time. It's just like to combat the pain that they have from breaking down at 40 or whatever it is.
Well, that's all you used to have to do in the American dream life back in the good old days is sustain for your family till you're 40. That gives your kids an opportunity
Oh,
to
yeah.
fend for themselves, and then you just die. Then the country moves on without you.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be all right. They already dug the hole for them.
That's when America was great, apparently.
Yeah, that's what they
So
tell us.
spectacular.
It makes you wonder if we're headed in a, because I know that we're becoming, I'm not going to say the word like softer as people. Well, we are becoming like, I mean, we worry about everything as a country, I think, and everybody else's everything and shit like that. Like, I wonder if becoming softer and working differently and loving more than we hate or fucking understanding more than we hate is going to lead us in a good direction, or will it get real difficult?
Well, I think you have to take a little bit of a broader spectrum to it, because I think, we focus on our country, but the whole world's been that way. I mean, foreign countries like Germany and France and England have been ahead of us a little bit in social terms, and as far as any pick a issue, you can say they're more socially progressive than we are, and they're more touchy feely or whatever. But it boils down to that old notion of America as the badass, the rebel, the cowboy, if you will.
Yeah.
That we can't seem to move beyond, or that we keep coming back to.
Yeah.
That people are afraid of losing. I don't know. I don't necessarily
Yeah,
consider
definitely.
myself a cowboy, so I don't get it.
Right. It does seem silly, but it's just change. People are
Yeah.
scared of change of any kind.
Like, to be honest, that is the one hope that I have when I don't have another hope, that in 30 to 40 years, we will progress in some way, one or the other, to where it'll be a different situation, to where I don't have to worry about what's going on currently.
Yeah.
So it's a light at the end of the tunnel in some regards for that. That is like a default for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have faith that we as a humanity will survive. We will carry on.
I
We will find the light.
That's
I feel
right.
like there are more people that are like looking for the light, but it kind of feels like the current crop of people is less capable of articulating it and bringing it to fruition.
We're just more aware of those people. They've always been there.
Okay, so do we have better leaders?
No,
Well, then we're fucked.
it's a slow progression, man.
Ridiculous.
No shit. Yeah.
Like,
Why is that ridiculous?
Well, because
it
we
is
have
slow.
but we have the standard set from the previous generation. So I mean, if people are fed up with stuff and they want progress, and it's like, okay, well, we do it this way. But instead, it feels like nobody actually takes part in the political process. Everybody just bitches about politics to people around them.
It is
Well,
true. A lot of people
that
do
is a
that.
difference that I would distinction is the political progression
Yeah.
is different than the progression I'm talking about. Like, I'm just talking like a societal progression. Like, political progression I view as the people in charge are trying to create policies in order to guide the
Oh, so do
the
you mean
path.
like neighbor to neighbor shit?
No, I mean like generational.
Clarify.
I speak in large terms here. Who am I to narrow down the universe? No, I mean like generational, like what our parents held important and what their parents held as ideals have shifted compared to what we or our future generations hold as important. And that progression is what I'm talking about. So, like, let's go 5 generations in the future. Right now, we care about any social media trend that's going on currently. We don't care about the environment, even though certain groups tend to talk about it every day.
Yeah, some people support it very loudly.
Well, we are running out of fresh water, but that's a different story.
Who needs water when you got Coca-Cola?
It's what plants crave.
If they can live in Mexico on tequila, so can we.
But right now, it's like
Mexico
gun
loves
control because of the
Coca-Cola.
school shooting
Yeah.
and racial relations and workers' rights. And in 40, 50 years, that could be an issue that could be solved. That could be progressively increasing or decreasing in someone's favor.
In that, I kind of thought in terms of workers' rights.
Yeah.
And, you know, before there was the 40-hour work week, people were breaking their backs and shit, working all the time and all that crap. But then the people took an actual stand, and they're like, no, man, fuck this. And, I mean, it's kind of happening now.
Right.
But
it's more just a trend. It's,
yeah. It's not people actively actually doing things other than, oh, well, nobody wants to work at Taco Bell. It's like,
Well,
yeah,
think of it this way. Think of it as a data chart.
right.
Like, you have hits and spikes and valleys and when you have a trend that's building, but when you start seeing that progression, those become more frequent. Sometimes it dies out, sometimes it increases, sometimes it gets as high as it could be, and you'll never see it again. It's more of an anomaly.
Right.
That's the progression that I'm talking about. We don't know what it's going to be in 3 to 4 generations from now, and I feel that so far from what I've seen in a lot of social issues, it's been nothing but improvement. It could change, it could alter that way, but we could go into internment camps for let's just say people with poor eyesight because we decided that they're lesser people,
Well,
God, we're fucked.
right?
Animals
we are
are
lesser
just
people,
fine.
though.
Right. Well, you need assistance to
know me.
live, so
I try
you're
to
gonna
buy
die.
booze off the bottom shelf and I can't read it.
You need assistance? Well,
Yeah.
you're dead. We're moving on from you.
Okay, so I feel what you mean. So, like, if things continue as they seem to indicate, then we might be all right.
Right. So many people are caught up in the advancements of technology that they expect society or humans to progress in the same manner. And technology's progression is almost infinite right now.
Right.
Right now.
While ours isn't. It's a much, much, much slower rate.
Because you can kind of look at it like you're in college and like you're really interested in like psychology, so you're like hitting the books for that really hard, but like your history knowledge is kind of falling off.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, and you don't want to necessarily promote the Renaissance man or the approach to everybody has to know everything either. But you want to be well-rounded in that situation. You want to become an expert in one field as best you can and adapt a new field into it and keep building. Build that bridge.
Build it.
Burn that motherfucker.
I was watching a video that I recommend, and it was a video with Ray Dalio. Dalio is a founder and co-chairman of Bridgewater Associates. I don't know. He's a author, and he has researched throughout history, like the rises and falls of different empires and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the book goes on to explain that we're in like the 5th stage of a fall of an empire because we have been the world leader. And I think he said since the I don't know. It was like Civil War or one of those wars, World War, whatever, how you ever say that, 1 or 2.
WW.
WW. But they said that the way things have progressed now, that we're pretty damn close to that. And the only, like, the 2 other ones that we have that we face an issue with is China and Russia, which could probably easily take us. Like, China could, and their infrastructure is better. And other than the fact that they, like, enslave their people, I believe, which that sucks. But if they become the world power, I mean, we got to all adapt to that. And then it's a back and forth.
I mean, I see where he's coming at with that, but I would argue that Russia would not be in that because their economic state is just
Yeah, they're not good.
lesser.
Yeah.
Lesser than ours by far. In regards to their access to natural resources, you can make an argument that that's basically what they're doing right now is trying to get more access to resources and oil.
Convenience of transport.
Yeah. But I would see that to broad brush a lot of issues and just cast them aside and look at a bigger picture. America is on the downturn, but it's not at a state to where we're necessarily in a full out bottom out decline.
Right.
We've been struggling with a labor force that we had in excess for a long time through slavery, through all kinds of, through the Industrial Revolution, through jobs, manufacturing, all kinds of stuff like that. And we're just really now kind of dealing with the impact of not being torturous about it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to avoid the route of being the authoritarian China, but we're still dealing with it, which,
oh, yeah.
I mean, immigration could help that, but that's another topic. But yeah, I don't think we're on like the end of days decline that
Right.
some make it out to be. That we're still one of the youngest countries
Right.
in our history.
Yeah.
We are still dealing with battle wounds from centuries ago. So
Right.
give us time, see what we do. But
I wonder if because they said that it might not be like a military war that we have to fight. It may be what is that with computers and shit, like a digital war, shit like that, informational war, shit like that. That might be what we face and have to battle. And I got to thinking about, like, if we went to war, how many people do you think? I know there's a lot that I know, but that's just my circle of people. How many people would offer up and be like, yeah, I'll go fight for this country?
What do you mean, a digital war or like a physical
No,
war?
a physical, yeah.
okay.
and all
it
that,
depends on
military.
why. I think that's a big thing since Vietnam and the Afghanistan. I think people would actually want to know what we're fighting for.
Yeah,
And
transparency.
at that point, I don't think it would matter. They would just institute a draft.
And it's, I thought about the whole draft thing too. Like, they would just force it. I feel like if you force America's hand enough, that because we talk shit about China being like their leaders. I mean, they have like a social score and shit like that. I feel like America can get to that point if they have to. Like, eventually they'll be like drafting people for McDonald's jobs. You know what I mean?
Well, somebody would argue that a credit score is a social score.
Yeah. I mean, quite literally, for
Yeah.
sure. I can agree with that. And I feel like we just do it. Like, okay, China does tell their people and stuff like that, right? And even the people that believe that they're free and they believe in the system and shit, right? I feel like that America does the same exact thing as these other countries. They just do it in a softer, like, kinder way. Like, they don't tell you that they're controlling everything that you do, but they kind of do.
A manipulative way is what
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
they take their guns.
That's what they do. They
Oh,
give
yeah.
you an issue to care about to distract you from
Yeah, man.
changing your daily life. And that's kind of what we've always done.
Yeah, it's definitely a distraction, and I always go back to, like, the two-party system keeps us in a constant state of battle amongst one another, so we can't focus on one topic. Like, I told Sarah, look, here's a correlation that I really like. When I was in prison, there were times where things would get bad enough and they would take enough or they wouldn't do their job enough. Things would get bad enough,
We would kill a guard.
almost, that like one
don't you just
pod would be, one pod would say to another, like, hey, on this day we're going to rise up, whether that's like we're not going to go to chow, we're not going to move, we're not going to do what the guards tell us. And then it would spread, and eventually it would lead to this uprising of people. It wouldn't last long, trust me. And then there were other times where it got so bad that every pod had the same ideal at the same time, where they're like, they all rose up and nobody talked to one another, right? It's kind of the state that we're in right now. Is almost like that setting. And I believe that if we were to, like all the gas prices and things that we dislike, and if we could come to an agreement on the things that we want better, if we all stop moving all at the same time, stop paying mortgages, stop going to work, and say, like, we run this country, we want better. We're not moving until it gets better, which it'll never happen because these people are crazy. Right. But so in prison, what they do when that happens is first they cut off the water, so you can't drink water and you can't flush the toilets. You got to set in your own, like, stink and shit. And then they'll make chow later and later and like not give it to you or give you less. They'll give you like a little sandwich for dinner and shit like that. But and they take your TV. So let's just count that as like electricity. They'll leave the lights on all the time. But they just do this psychological shit to you and take things from you. And I feel like that's what America would do if we did that. Like we'd all rise up at one time and first they take the water, then they take the electricity, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's like a damned if you do. And none of us, I feel like, are equipped to be independents. Even some people that believe they are, I don't think they are. You know, they're not ready for the kind of pain that the country can bring them if they rose up. So it's like, what do? You know?
I got a 32 pack of water. I'm ready.
So ready.
I'm set for life.
For life.
Well, I mean, some of that correlation could be made to the pandemic. All we had to do was stay indoors for 2 weeks. If everybody did it at the same time, been 2 weeks, been over. But
Been over.
nobody wanted to do that at the same time.
Right.
So, in regards to if there's an actual needed change and the government decides to take those resources, a lot of people would flee. A lot of people would be looking for a different place to live, especially around the borders. In places where you couldn't, people would try to self-sustain. And then it would become lawlessness, so it would go to tribal.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as long as the powers that be that controlled the resources were able to maintain them, they would gather their military or militia forces and wipe out the tribals and try to start new.
Yeah.
So if you're in the tribal, you got to be able to defend that or have a representative that can talk to the people in power to negotiate a way to survive.
Yeah.
Get you a shaman to talk to the aliens.
Yep.
We need
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Work your magic, magic man.
Magic man. Yeah, no, it always baffled me, though. I know that that's a good answer to just stop and, demand. Like, they're in Europe, like, they're afraid of their people because their people have stood up for one cause, not like 12 or 24 or 50 or 80, but one main cause, like better whatever hours a week or taxes to be better or healthcare to be better, right? One thing at a time, please. Fucking stand up like they do, and then their government is not afraid of them in that sense, but they're like, oh shit, they're actually going to do this. And as much as like I don't really agree with all the stuff that happened with QAnon and the stuff that still goes on and shit like that. I mean, it was a good representation of what you can accomplish with a bigger group of people on the notion that there's one thing in mind, and don't let these people like mental issues lead the pack. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, that's the problem. They rallied, they joined together, they had a united cause, and then they promoted violence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you can't expect a non-violent regime to approach violence in a way that they're not going to retaliate to. You get defensive naturally. Just think of a person on person. If somebody comes at you hot and heavy and violent, you get defensive.
Right.
And most people will retaliate, at least to bring it back to neutral field, if not to progress further and get an advantage.
Yeah.
So it's just they didn't have the leadership to be like, okay, we have a base, we have an advantage here.
Yeah.
Let's use it in a
Fucking
way
capitalize on it.
that will disadvantage the people that we care about. Well, we care about getting rid of, or that we don't want in power anymore. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was essentially have somebody, whether it be Trump, whether it be whoever else, Santos right now, all they have to do is just stay the course, keep the message going, and they will be able to change things the way they want them. The Supreme Court's changing, supposedly, with Roe v. Wade. They're going to have a majority in the House. They're going to have a majority in the Senate. They're going to have the executive branch this coming election. They're going to have opportunities to make a lot of different changes. They got to keep it going. They got to make sure that they focus and have that one resolve, because it's not about rallying and then fucking tearing it all down, watching it burn. It's rallying and making sure that you stay the course and keep it going. It's a slow progress. We built this country to make change slowly.
So then I thought, like, while you were saying all that crap, I was thinking, like, other countries are different because it feels like they have a national identity. So it kind of feels like America, with that, like we're in the process of reconfiguring what our national identity is.
To some extent, I would agree. Yeah.
So, do you think we'll actually come to a common understanding and acceptance of, like, oh man, we are Americans, we need to get this? Or is it going to continue down the path of, like, no, dude, you're not left enough, well, you're not right enough?
That comes back to that societal change. I think that'll happen through generations. I think we'll struggle with that throughout our lives.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll immediately change. I could be wrong. We could have a unifying cause that brings us all together. But
it's so right.
If we can't do it for a national pandemic and then children getting shot up for no reason, I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I'd like to think that, like, because I've kind of looked at America as kind of like in its teenage years.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm thinking maybe we'll start college soon.
Yeah,
then we got to get into the self-reflection and identifying ourselves with where we come from and our culture.
Like that would be great long term, but short term, it's like, well, there aren't enough keggers to make this tolerable.
Oh, without a doubt, though, I believe that it's a constant misunderstanding of what the other side represents, and then a constant butting of the heads when we try to make some change or talk about things. Like, one side won't even listen to them about gun violence just because they pray to a different god, or they pray to no god. Like, it makes no sense that we can't work together as people just because we have differences. That's idiotic.
And that's the thing. There's all kinds of approaches and ideas, but there's no unifying voice. There's no, let's try this. Let's everybody get on board and treat a gun license as a pilot license, which I think I heard from Bill Barr. Let's ban this weapon, which I don't think works. Let's focus on domestic violence, because 60 to 70% of domestic violence offenders are also, 60 to 70% of people that commit violent crimes, such as the domestic terrorism shootings, have a history of domestic violence.
Yeah.
So it's there are approaches, there are causes. Just people just want to rant and rave and yell with people talking ridiculous counterpoints that go back to the 90s and violent video games.
They do, man. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And that's how they
God.
implement that. They muddy the waters in that sense, is by adding that person into the conversation, just so that it makes them look, it just makes the whole conversation irrelevant at that point.
Yeah. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to say, it's okay not to say anything.
They do it on purpose. literally on purpose.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, and I watch things that are on the left and right, and I'm not afraid to go in between or outside of it. But if we were all just do your right or left, but be moderate, be somebody who is open to the left. So if you're left, I'm right, and your side wins, well, I'm going to do everything that your side says because I believe in the system. And then when it's our turn again, like we're going to do everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But everybody accept the outcome.
But
you know?
Mitch McConnell wants to throw a hissy fit and say, no, I didn't get my way. We're doing nothing.
Nothing at all.
Sorry, I
When
just
do
don't
you
like
think
Mitch
he'll
McConnell.
die?
No,
I know, dude.
That would be nice.
Yeah, his health
But, like-
isn't that great. So
It never
It is a
has been.
retaliatory aspect or mindset that's going on right now, and it's not even about who wins. It's like it used to be. Well, I'm sounding like a right-wing libertarian historian if I go into it like that, but you know,
He's
the
an historian.
the winning party took the opposite party's running mate or person as their second.
Yeah,
Right.
dude.
They that was the VP. Like you clearly have a voice
Right.
that's rallied behind you. I'm going to take you as my vice president
That's a good
to show
strategy.
that we got to work together to do something.
Right.
A damn good
Find
strategy.
common ground. That's what we were supposed to do, but we've gotten away from that. So
You know, and I wondered too if like the threat of assassination has come in the way of that, just because like that if I take your other side and the other side wants it bad enough, they'll just kill me to get it. Or
I don't even think people fear assassination anymore. There would be maybe a week of this is just a tragedy, and then it would just go by the
blow
wayside.
over. Yeah, ain't that crazy?
There'd be a lot of people though. They'd be like, good.
Right.
Right.
Oh yeah. You know, it's so crazy what we are accustomed to, like what has just become normal, and you overlook it and shit. You sent Sarah the guy burning or whatever, and the guy and his kid were just now. All right, whether they thought it was like that was just a show or
Yeah,
whatever, the
yeah.
dude was seriously.
he was walking around taking pictures with people, so
Yeah.
everyone thought he was just
They
part
thought-
of like the tourist
Another
attractions.
religious extremist guy set himself on fire outside of like some cafes,
Yeah.
and there were
Yeah.
people looking, and after like I don't know 30 or 40 seconds, some guy finally put him out with a fire extinguisher. But
I
at that
told-
point, it's like let the guy die.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I told Sarah. If somebody put me out, I would sue them only for the fact that you came in the way of me answering the almighty question, like what's on the other side, and now I gotta live with this. Like these third, I did this for a purpose, and you stopped it.
I mean, did
I
he
wouldn't
not
sue
have
him, or
another
you know, I mean,
match?
I'm not gonna sue him like crazy.
Like,
you,
did-
you don't have any more gasoline?
but it
Did
takes
he
balls
commit
to do it the first
acts
time.
of violence prior, or was he just doing it as a message, or
Oh, just
did
like
he have
the-
like a thing?
I mean, as far as I'm aware, it was just like that Buddhist monk dude.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a display. I have
I'm
a
about to
point.
do it.
He's not like bringing people down with him.
Yeah.
But,
I don't. He
but
didn't.
I don't know.
As far as I know, he didn't like cause any damage to anyone, or other than like trauma to the
Trauma.
children and the
Like-
people watching him burn alive.
Like,
but, yeah.
initially, I'm with you. Like, if the dude wants to set himself on fire, let him do it. He's
Yeah.
got a reason. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, did this guy only set himself on fire just to see people's reactions, or feel like they'd remember him as the guy
Right.
that
Yeah.
set himself on fire? Or,
Yeah.
you know, that selfish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make people remember me long after I'm dead because I don't have enough wherewithal to believe that whatever happens to me happens, and I can't stand the thought of my life ending, and
That's
Yeah.
I gotta be remembered.
That
Like
shows,
yeah.
that shows no thought. Because, I mean, I would just think, oh, it's just another dude that burned himself alive.
yeah.
Are like the incels that are like, I'm gonna kill, preferably women
do you
that
know?
they think are beautiful or whatever, and have oppressed them for so long. But incels do that. They state beforehand, like, I want to be the guy that goes out killing all the beautiful people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Maybe
the
it
second
was.
dude you've ever seen set himself alive, and you're like,
It
just another one.
happens every day.
Sorry.
Oh no, you
It's as
can.
common as a panhandler these days.
Pan flute player in the mall.
It takes some serious balls when there's
But,
guns
like,
around.
Even with
Yeah.
that, I mean, you look. I think I don't remember if it's China or Japan. They don't have the gun violence we do, but they still have mass stabbings in schools by
Yeah.
guys that
Right.
go do it and then set themselves on fire.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
People
Dude,
are
they'll
just
be-
fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
Everywhere.
People like to make the
Yeah.
argument that they're like, well, it's just easier with the gun. It's like, yeah, okay, but if you take away the guns, then we're just gonna have a bunch of dudes making pipe bombs again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 3D printing guns
Big
because that's
sick
possible.
fertilizer
Yeah.
bombs.
I mean, I will be honest. I have been on the side of banning weapons for a long time.
Yeah.
But it more and more, it's like a tool is a tool. You have to address how somebody uses it and
Right.
why.
Yeah.
I definitely.
So, I mean, if you want to claim mental health, that's cool, but don't strike down bills that are supporting mental
I've
health.
made the same
Right.
argument about the internet. It's like the internet's a tool. People use that to filter in terrorists and like murder
Right.
and rape people. But
And
it's
they
like,
use
Sell
it to
children.
chart the stars and create,
it's like it's
yeah.
just a matter of how you use it. Don't take the internet from people.
Right.
Just because somebody's like, let's get a terrorist group.
Yeah. That's I think I don't know what that falls on. Maybe the fear of death, fear of dying, fear
Everybody's
of
dying, bitch.
pain, fear of whatever, because Americans are so fucking they just need an escape from the thought of, what's coming inevitably. Like there's no stopping it.
like
but
when, sorry, go ahead.
oh no.
When did that change? What has it always been that way? Like, go back to the idealistic 50s or go back to the 20s, the roaring 20s. People had jobs. People went to their jobs. People didn't like their jobs. Some people did. Some people were poor. Some people were rich. Then they ended their day and they went home. Like, when have we evolved to the point where we need that to be different? Why does it have to be like...
I think the internet has given you that.
I think it was probably like that then. We just don't know that, and we don't talk about it because we don't know.
I would
No
say-
doubt there are changes like the internet, and life's changed. I'm not saying like it's the same
like
or
with
should
the,
be.
the Industrial Revolution type shit. They were advertising like vacations and
Right.
cars and like houses. So like our way of living has just become so insulated and like packaged that it's like it's just baby steps into like we're so separated from death and everything. Because I mean, the death scenes book that I was looking at, people would like hold up pictures, like pose their babies that had just died, so like they would have a picture
Right.
left of them,
Well, they
Yeah.
used to make like death masks and stuff of
Yeah.
people.
Talk about it
so,
more.
Yeah.
So now with it, like I feel like we're just separated from the reality of it. Because I mean, we have school shootings and shit in our face all the time, but you never really see the bodies, and you're very rarely around them. So like our connection to
Right.
death, I think, has just been so cut off that it's affecting how we go about things, and
Well-
everybody just wants the next phone and like the cool Tesla.
So would you argue that it's a societal change that we focus too much on the happy and the pretty and are afraid of accepting death? Or
Yeah, dude, because like
Well-
back in the
Okay.
day, it was just inevitable and it was in everybody's face.
Right.
And like I'm gathering from that book that like they didn't know what fucking rabies really was. They were still working on it. Like there were cases of it. They called it
Motherfucking
hydrophobia.
rabies. Yeah.
And they were like, they thought that people were turning into dogs and shit because
Yeah.
like they were like, oh, they're trying to bark.
Yeah.
It's like no, they have a bunch of shit in their throat. But with technological advances, medical shit, we're faced less with the inevitability of just like the grotesqueness of it.
Well,
Yeah.
think too, like the families used to prepare the bodies, and we don't do that anymore in terms of like dressing and stuff like that. I don't know like the full extent of it. I'm sure, of course, we didn't do like embalming and things like that. But I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But and same thing with like animals. We used to have to prepare our own food, and most people don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just not in our face. We have people that do that. We pay people to do all these things for us. So it's just not in our face. So now it's fucking creepy and
Yeah,
weird.
So embracing that side, embracing death, having it become more of or less of a trope, whatever the terminology you want to go with.
Yeah,
What
that's
would
fine.
how would we start that, and what would you hope that it would lead to?
God.
God, really? No, I'm just joking.
You
son of a
motherfucker.
No, I just feel like it would rehumanize us from like a biological animal perspective.
Maybe take away fear and allow us to focus on other things.
Yeah, it would be good because I also feel like it would give us more of a grasp. Because I mean, I could be wrong, but I tend to think of people looking at death as like a movie thing, where it's like, yeah, I mean, it happens, but you know, if you get stabbed, then you're probably gonna die pretty quickly, and it'll be fine.
But you can make the heroic comeback or
Right.
fight off the enemy before you do
Yeah,
it. So
you can drag
you
yourself
made it
in.
meaningful.
But you know, I just think not enough people are surrounded by dead bodies all the time. I think that would be helpful.
You're getting,
It wouldn't hurt.
you're getting a little from your message, but all right.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
we all like to stray a little bit.
Yeah.
I joined an exhumed bodies group
Yeah.
on Facebook. Some of that shit's gross.
No shit has been
Yeah.
rotting underground.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't even embalm them very well. Like their eyes are all fucked up, and you know.
Oof.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, the gooiness of death would be a little off-putting, but
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll maybe it's the same reason why we put bodies in caskets and try to preserve them and then put them underground and go to that spot. Never, because I don't know anybody who does that except for people's grandmothers. And I think that we just try to hang on to anything possible. Like, we're so scared of that. Like, once you have left the body, like, go and get rid of it, because you're not coming back to that body. Even if, like, God does come back or Jesus does come back, I don't think he's going to put souls back in their dumbass bodies.
No, they're going to be in terrible condition. I mean, hopefully he has the decency to bring you a new body.
I know.
mean,
Fucking no leg, your eyes are popping out, but I'm
He
still
works in
here.
mysterious
skin
ways.
falling off, walking down the street and
No,
shit.
I just think of it in terms of like whenever you have somebody that, like, let's say they make like $12 an hour and they're just accustomed to being poor, and then magically one day they're making like $40 an hour, and then, you know, just gradually they're like, oh, my lifestyle is increasing, I have more shit around me, I'm more insulated, and it's kind of become that in terms of appreciation of life and community. It's like we're just increasingly separated from everything. And then we crave, it's like a constant search for higher and more. And then you lose touch with what matters. It's like with the politicians. They're like, or I guess Lucille, how much is a banana? You know?
yeah.
Kind of shit.
But I guess does what matters define as what mattered to you then matter more than what matters to you after the change? I said that poorly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of grasp what you said.
Yeah. So when you start out, what matters to you is more based in a necessity. So you have your $12 an hour lifestyle, and you need things to get by every day. You have a struggle in life.
You appreciate your food, your
Right.
clean socks,
Yeah.
shoes that fit.
But
kinda shit.
does that stuff matter after you get to a point where you no longer have to think about it? Like, why does it still matter to you when it doesn't need to?
Well, I feel like it's the difference between, like, appreciating those things, and then once you get to a point where you don't have to worry about it, you feel entitled to it. So, like, if you have 2 shirts and you have no money and you rip one of them, like, well, shit. Now, I'll still wear it, and I'm thankful to have a shirt. But then once you have a closet of like 100 shirts, and like, let's say you have a favorite one, and you spill Coke on it, you're like, oh, God, my day is ruined. I'm going to take it out on my kid. It's just like the...
Well, all right.
Planning.
That took a spin for me, but okay.
No, it's just, you know...
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's less appreciation and more, well, why the fuck why don't I have more? Why doesn't this guy give me more? You know?
So you've progressed, but your needs have progressed more, and you're not considering what you had initially. You just
Not even
focus
needs.
on that
It's I would say wants.
once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because wants outweigh needs eventually. Because they're like, oh, well, I have my foundation, I have food, I have clean clothes, I have a roof over my head. Fuck, man, why isn't the paint blue? And then you start getting pissed off at people you work with. Well, don't get mad at me. My house isn't perfect, kind of thing, you know. And I mean that's just a pretty shitty example, but it illustrates a point.
Yeah. I guess I would hope along the way that those needs would show you how much you need, so you'd think about what other people need, and then you wouldn't focus on the paint color. You would focus on, man, other people don't have what I have.
Yeah, I wonder if my
Stuff
neighbor
like that.
needs their house painted.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonder if my neighbor needs a house.
Well, I'm not trying to help my
Absolutely.
neighbors. I'm just trying to not make their life worse actively.
Well, you're
That's
a
all it
dick.
is. Well, you know, I'm a passive good guy. If I'm not making
That's
things,
dick.
if I'm not making things any worse for you actively, then I'm at least keeping your life static.
Yeah.
And that's all you can really ask.
I'm a static man.
Doing the real shit over here.
Whatever, dude. I learned something because I watched the video of the dude. It was like a 2-hour video, but like over the course of a year, he built a log cabin. He lived in Sweden, and I was inspired. I thought, man, that'd be pretty cool. I'll never do it,
Right.
but I'd like to know that I could.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at like wilderness land for sale in America. And it's not even that it's unaffordable.
Yeah.
It's that it's fucking zoned.
Yeah.
It's like, here, you can buy this land, but you can't put a camper on it. You can't build a cabin on it. You can drink beer and hunt boar.
Right.
And then it's like, well, it's my land. Why can't I build a fucking cabin with my trees on my
Because
land?
they're not your trees.
You can get it rezoned.
They're
Or
the
you can
Earth's trees.
ask to get it rezoned.
Yeah, you can
They can
rezone
say
it.
no, but yeah.
Would I have to like butter palms?
Possibly. Depends. You would nowadays you would probably have to invest in green energy and to offset your carbon footprint of your plan.
Well,
Because
my-
you're going to cut down trees.
Yeah.
Those trees absorb CO2.
Right.
You need to make sure that deficit is made up in another way, that the local area, county, whatever, can sell in a way that they don't need that land. Or
Not cut down
if it's not
trees.
trees, you got to make it up for the animals. You got to preserve their habitat in a different location or in a way in which you live with them. It's all that.
But what if I put a factory there?
Well, if you can make the county enough money, then yeah, that's fine.
Butter
Okay.
palms.
Because
Butter palms.
Yeah.
It just makes me mad. Like, I want to chop down some trees, build a log cabin, live on shit that I hunt, and have some berry and mushroom jam and shit, you know? And then,
Yeah.
mushroom jam.
It reminds me though that
Yeah.
and we had talked about it on quite a few podcasts about living in a commune and shit like that, and how that was big in the 1960s, and then that fell apart by the 1970s. Did you know that that's like coming back full force? Like they have places like that you can go and live for free, and
From what I understand, like the northern part of Maine,
yeah,
or a lot of parts of Maine, have like a lot of, I won't say they're communes, but they are
Yeah.
very similar.
yeah, there are communities where you go.
And that kind of ties in. I was going to ask one of the highlights. Do you think the idea of returning to nature or living more with nature is a step away from society, or do you feel it's more of an individual's journey to find oneself?
I think it's a combination of finding oneself and an escape from capitalistic greed.
Mm.
I agree with that.
To take away that want for more and better and all that.
It's like living in a society where we depend on people for things, but then the people that we depend on, whether it be the business owners or the politicians, just constantly thinking, how can I exploit these people? How can I bend this to my own will,
Right.
line my pockets? So if people just go live among the trees, they can escape it.
You know,
As long as there's enough trees.
I want to punch. Not only do I want
You
to
don't
punch
cut 'em down.
the politicians and leaders
I'm
that
cutting some down.
have always took advantage of us in that way and got over and all that shit, but I also want to take down the fucking people who do the math on that shit. Like they're like, hey,
fucking
go study.
accountants.
Yeah, they're like, go study what it's gonna take. What do I have to say to make all these people to like, you know, to practically enslave them? And then the person's like, cool, boss, I'll go do the fucking numbers, and they do, and they come back. Like, you know, he wants that or she wants that for like illicit purposes.
Right.
Like, they don't want to just like, you know what I mean? They're just not curious. They can go to Google
Right.
for that.
I'm not going to use this for good, and you know that.
Yeah. And that
But those
for-
people aren't staticking up other people's lives.
That's right. They're
Shit.
actively shitting it up.
shitting it all up.
Yeah.
It's just
And that's
backwards.
unacceptable.
They're just
It
running
is.
data
Yep.
tables in Excel, man. They're just living their life, their best life.
It's like, it's wild to me, man.
No, I like the idea of a commune.
Commune with
Let's
me.
commune.
Commune.
A
It's like people
commune.
just live on a bus on the way to work.
Let's commute. But I think a lot of people use the idea or the notion of let's get back to nature as more of like an individual practice to where they're just really trying to get away from other people. I don't think they really
Yeah.
care about nature.
No.
I think they could really just get like the same feeling or self-release from going to do one of those hyperbolic chambers or one of those sensory deprivation chambers.
Yeah.
So I was
Or
just
like
curious.
even if their if their apartment was soundproofed
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you could just order everything on Amazon.
Hell
Yeah.
yes.
Like take a week off and just put some noise canceling headphones on, man. You don't really care about nature.
See, I was thinking like in terms of me personally, like when I went and walked around the Jefferson Memorial Forest or whatever. After some time in that bitch, I was just like, dude, nature. And it was also, dude, no people.
What do you think that
So
is?
it was
what
both.
what do you think that is about us? What differentiates our connection with nature and our connection with the good old days? Or is it the same notion just on a different topics mindset?
Good old days, I think it's just because you remember less of the details and you just like, oh yeah, man, that was cool. I just sat around or whatever. But you forget about how much it sucked being in line at the grocery store and the asshole to cut you off.
Right.
But it's like, humanity, we come from nature. So it's like going home to visit your parents, like once you've lived away from them for a while. And it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Instead of just like going to your boss's like pig roast or whatever.
I want a boss that has a pig roast.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I would say for me though, we like you said when you were telling us about that, is that it made you feel better. And for most people, that's something that even doctors recommend is getting out in nature. I do believe that disconnect with. I don't think everybody's in it for the right reason. I think some people go to communes because they saw it on TikTok.
Right.
Like, I want to go there.
Right.
But yeah, I think that I think it's really good for us to reconnect with nature, and you can still have, like you said, the amenities we have now. You can come back to and then go visit every now and then. You don't have to like completely disconnect, but I do think we need to connect a little bit more because we're not listening to lakes and rivers that have been there for centuries and decades and fucking forever are drying up very fast.
You do your fucking witch stuff. You like walk around barefoot,
Hell yeah.
and like witches are all about that shit. They're like ground. Get grounded, man.
Go touch some
Absolutely.
grass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go touch some grass.
I definitely.
And it is cool.
It's
I didn't
so
mean that
much
to be
better.
a drug reference, by the way.
You can do that
grass
too.
in you.
But
Grass is not a drug, it is a plant.
But nobody does it anymore.
what smokes weed? A lot
Oh,
of people
no.
smoke weed. No.
They don't connect anymore, and their
No,
kids
for sure.
don't connect, and their kids aren't going to. And then it's going to come to a point where we're not going to be able to because it's going to be too hot. The world's going to be on fire.
Right.
It is unfortunate because I am like Pocahontas in this bitch walking through the woods with no shoes on. It is the best shit in the world. It makes me happy.
Are your kids chasing deer in the backyard? You got them
No.
out there slapping birds.
I have them watch it, but I don't. Chloe might be old enough to go run out there, but Everett's still a little young.
He's the prime guy. He's too young to know any better. Go slap something, boy.
Send him outside towards the fox, see what happens.
He'll come home with a pet is what'll happen.
That'd be awesome. He just rides it up to your door. Let us in. Those are your first words?
I like that this fox has a saddle, though.
No saddle, just grip of tuft fur.
I don't need a saddle, old man.
Hell yeah.
Give his fucker some pork.
We do need to connect more with death, though. We need to be okay with it, and we need to welcome it
Yeah.
and party like the Mexicans do when somebody dies.
Yeah, so you missed the question. How do you propose that we kind of start getting back in, like, connected to it?
Yeah, how do we progress towards making it less taboo, and like what's the ultimate goal through that progression? Like just the acceptance of it, or
Bring back the gallows.
Yeah, put it right in their face. No, that's the acceptance of it is the hardest thing because we are very distracted. They use almost everything, and the only bad part is I think the human is built to be distracted from it, and it's easy because I walk around. There's times that I'm get off on tangents. I'm worried about something at work and shit like that, and it's just, a guy I'm doing work for, man. He's or the contractor on the job, and it's crazy to me. He took I turned the thermostat on. He took the thermostat. I asked him, I was like, man, I've never wore shorts on a job ever. I wore shorts and I was like, because it's fucking hot. And I asked him just to be courteous. I didn't give a shit what he thought. And I was like, hey, can I, I'm going to wear these shorts. It's like, well, if you were my guy, it wouldn't happen and stuff like that. And then I told Sarah, I said, you know what I want to ask this guy if he knows he's going to die. Or if he's distracting himself. You know what I mean?
right?
Because I think that we could progress more if everybody woke up every morning with the acceptance of I'm going to die, so I better do everything I can within this day to make it worthwhile. Because, I'm going to die, so either do nothing and wait for death to come to your door, or wake up every morning and think that you got everything you need done. Not like buying things or working to be some TikTok star or some bullshit like that, but something meaningful to you and the rest of the world. But how we do that, I don't know. Maybe, get rid of what are they? Celebrities and replace them with like death parties. I don't know.
Dead people.
What
Dead
the
people.
fuck?
No, I
Only
don't
celebrate celebrities after they've died.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Why do we have to get rid of Affleck to celebrate death?
Because it's
must
Affleck.
go.
Adam said so.
No, I don't know. I don't know how you implement it aside from bringing it up in conversations and putting it in some of the videos that kids watch nowadays, and not even just kids, but like in general, everybody. But
It would be a good idea to talk about it more.
at a young age
It
too, would be
seems
dope.
like it's
Yeah.
never discussed until somebody dies.
Yeah.
It came to me as we were doing this.
Uh-oh.
Back in the day, whenever like the Aztecs or whatever would have a new temple and shit, they'd sacrifice like 50,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe every time a politician gets elected president, we sacrifice like, I don't know, some significant number, like
Can I pick the people?
1,776 people.
Uh-huh.
One for every.
Yeah. and then it's like, this is for the good of America.
Yeah.
And then, the gods smile on our country. And then people value their lives again. Because
So
they're like, man,
we're
I hope
bringing
I'm
back the
not.
gallows.
I hope I'm not picked. Yeah.
Yeah. So can I pick the
Drink
people?
that blood. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, give me your thoughts. What do you?
I'm trying to put them together.
I can't
So like, I
wait.
wouldn't attend.
wouldn't?
I would avoid
What if
as
they
much as
charged
possible.
for attendance?
What if it wasn't
They
illegal?
charge- Okay.
Yeah, instead of like letting people in for free, where there's no value to these sacrifices, it's like here's $200 a head.
No,
you know?
I'm just trying to not to
Oh,
be
that's
sacrificed.
crazy. What
Oh,
about
no. You're not
$5?
sacrificed if you pay.
So okay, so we
People are
create
chosen before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you pay and you're guaranteed a spot not to be sacrificed. What
Mm-hmm.
if there's not enough people and You think
there's
there'll
enough
always be enough?
people.
Oh, there will always be. Basically,
Yeah.
like anytime there's a national tragedy,
Yeah.
like any shooter, they're up for sacrifice. Instead of the death penalty or like 20 years in prison, we're just like, all right, you get sacrificed at the next election.
Yeah, throw them in the dungeon and just
Okay.
hold them
Yeah.
until then.
And it's not even like a cool dungeon.
Yeah.
And then
It's like the old timey ones that are like, like 3 feet by 3 feet.
Yeah.
And just,
It's
and
not
then
even
if we
big
don't
enough
meet
to
our
lay
quota
down.
that year.
then we just go to Mexico and bring back some drug lords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got to go out to other countries and
We
fill
can
our quota.
outsource for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Let's
they'll
get
be
some
okay.
refugees.
Like I'm just thinking, like 50 years, yeah, I think this will work fine. But like, if it becomes an institution, like a century from now,
Yeah.
we might be running out of people.
No, we'll be fine. Then we can
Listen,
institute a
the-
draft.
The
It'll be
way
like the lottery.
the way that people have kids, we will never run out of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That talking about the getting rid of all this or kill all those celebrities or getting rid of them and stop having them would actually be beneficial. Like if you take away YouTube and
He's over there
TikTok
thinking about
celebrities, you like don't put them up on a pedestal. Don't pay them like this obscene amount of money when you can't even feed homeless people and shit. So you take all that out of the equation, then
Yeah.
these kids won't grow up thinking that like we all think we want to need to be something special and remembered by our peers and shit like that. And most people will follow that with music or comedy or art or whatever. Maybe we need to take that out of the not art because you don't see a lot of celebrities in art, but you get what I'm saying. Like
Movies
all
are
those
art, you fuck.
but
You're a
like
fuck.
celebrities and shit. If you took that out of the equation, we didn't have those, and more people would be like, "Well, I have to be known for my scientific inventions, my discoveries, the things that I build and make and do and shit like that." Instead of this this dumb fucking. It holds no substance. Fucking
baseball
YouTube
that I
bullshit.
But what
Oh,
about the
so-
shitheads at McDonald's that get your order wrong? What makes them so fucking special?
When were they special?
They
They're
gave you
not.
an
That's
order,
the
didn't
point.
Yeah, I think we need to stop
No,
telling
the-
everybody they're
the
special.
All I
point-
hear from this is he's cutting down Ben Affleck and he wants to build up the
Okay.
McDonald's workers.
So two things. One, get off Affleck's nuts.
Affleck's the man.
and
He does it for his peeps.
And two, the point is no one's special. Stop telling people that.
Yeah, but he's deciding that no one's special, so that makes him more special than Danner. And that's wrong.
Danner, don't you agree no one's special?
I tend to agree,
Equal.
nobody.
Get off Affleck's nuts.
But Norm MacDonald.
He's special, but he's dead. So let's see his body so we can
Oh,
get used to it.
Yeah, let's praise the dead. Let's get into that. Dead worship. That's healthy.
We've definitely lowered the bar.
It was.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was your idea first.
We've lowered the bar on what makes people special as well.
Yeah.
With TikTok and YouTube and all that.
Absolutely.
Being
yeah.
dyslexic will get you labeled
Yeah.
as special. Like, what's that about?
What even is this? But we need.
That's that focus on the light instead of death. Let's call it a nice. They're special.
I'll say that it would have been beneficial if my parents wouldn't have said that to me. Oh, like you can be anything. Well, maybe not anything, but choose one. You know what I mean? If they would just if they would force me into choosing her and not be like, well, you could be anything. Well, try anything, but pick one eventually. And you could do a couple, but,
Well,
you
they
said,
were
specialize
right,
in
but
something.
you decided to be a robist
Robin.
instead.
Robin.
It's a new word, I think.
Look, he does literally everything on the planet. He's just all day like show him the drawing later.
This motherfucker's
You
doing
put a
electrical
picture
work
on
and
it.
he drops classical music piano shit in between. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, my parents shouldn't have told me I could do anything. You could do anything, you
But
dumb shit.
drew
are
this
any of those
picture.
things like you know what I mean? Like am
They're
I
useful,
actually like
yes.
Yeah.
well no, not like useful, but I'm not famous for any of them. I'm not
You don't need to be
top of
famous,
my
that's the
game and all
point.
of them.
Yeah, what
I
does
know.
fame get you?
But I think that if you take the special out of it, you
Yeah.
stop telling them they can do anything.
Oh.
You stop telling them they can make it to this some fucking grand you're a celebrity bullshit.
Yeah.
Then they would try things on their own. You could tell them they can do anything, but you're just going to be you for the rest of your life. You don't have to be anything other than that.
Yeah.
And then be done with it.
Do
Don't fucking
things
tell
because
these
you
kids
want to and you like to, not
Yeah.
because you might be famous from
Tell
it.
them
Steve
that
Buscemi
shit.
pulls people out of fires.
They
Does
too
he?
many parents like rely on that, and then they want to be
He's
like, well, if he
awesome.
makes
great.
it, then we all make it. You know what I mean?
Hell
They got that
yes.
hope that there'll be something good so that the family can succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Plus, I mean, there is that thing to where like a lot of the truly talented, famous people, like they're like, oh yeah, I had this show, but I was on my way to getting a doctorate. I had this other cool shit going for me, but I thought, okay. I was a lawyer, but now I'm a stand-up comedian.
Right.
You know, it's not like, oh yeah, dude, I fucking worked at the Foot Locker, and my cousin and I used to beat up my other cousin, and now we have a show.
There was a guy, I wish I
I'd
could
watch that
remember
show,
who
though.
it was. He was a bioengineer and was like, I fucking hate this job.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a comedian.
I worked for this lady that had her husband sounded a lot like me, and he had just a house full and a garage full of like anything you can think of. He was a pilot at one time. He was this all before like the age of 45. He died at 50 because he had early onset Alzheimer's, right? But he sounded a lot like me. He just liked everything and shit like that. And he was very insecure. He took everything for granted. Like that shit. And then he dies. Oh, shit. Where was I going with that? He did all that shit. Shit. You were just saying something about the people, the thing you just said. Why did that all leave my brain?
I don't know.
Play it back.
Yeah,
No
fucking hit
shit.
the replay.
I know, I hate that. Why can't I remember it? Well, because I can't remember anything.
Okay, so there are people that are talented that got out of doing
yep,
the
gotcha.
shit.
So
wasn't
he was
done.
he was like this
No
real
one needs you.
real high up accountant, fucking like financing for like big companies like GE and shit like that. Like he went to school, had a master's and doctors in whatever finances. I'm just gonna say that. Sorry. Yeah, and but then was like, you know what? I can't fucking stand going to work every day. I hate what I do. I mean, math. He was a fucking smart guy. I'm not gonna say genius. It takes a lot to do that, but yeah. And he went to be an electrician. He was like, well, I'm just gonna do this because this interests me, and it's like, I guess electric. There's more to learn than all the other trades, but yeah. He was like this high, got paid. He was making a killing and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go be an electrician for GE. He got on through the business he was in before, I thought that was baffling. I'm like, this very intelligent fucking guy was just like, I can't stand the thing that I'm intelligent at. It's crazy. But
Makes sense.
yeah. It reminded me of that. Because it's like, damn, dude. But
That's
so,
the thing, though.
guess what?
that you
It's like, damn,
find the
dude.
thing that, it's do the thing that you enjoy, not whatever the
Yeah.
fuck that you're
I fucking
good at.
there's quite often that I show up and the customer's like a widow and shit like that, and their husband. More often than not, it's the husband that died, not the wife.
Yeah.
And it's odd though because I've cried with more customers than I care to admit. Like not cry like bawl like a baby, but tears running, hugging them. Don't even know the people. Sometimes like that lady that we were at Friday or Thursday. I just met you. I have no clue like on any other level of other than that. He gets early onset Alzheimer's and dies at fucking 50. Can you imagine? That's young.
Mm-hmm.
How you
It's
die
not
at
that
50?
young, man.
That's young, dude.
It's like 50.
You're almost 50.
I know. I had a freak out when I was 25. I was like, I'm halfway to 50.
It's
50's
definitely young.
old to a 25-year-old.
That's what I was freaking out that time. I was like, we went on that drive, and I was just like, what is going on? I was only like 28 at the time, 29, something like that. I was freaking the fuck out. He was like, don't worry, man, you'll be 35 before you know it. I'm like, it made me feel better, oddly.
You know, the Stoics say that you shouldn't think about one day I'm going to die. It's that I'm dying right now.
In the
Every minute
process.
I've lived, the Grim Reaper has. So, a lot of my years are in his bag.
Yeah,
They don't really paint the picture with bags, but you get the idea.
like a death bag.
So yeah, like a death
Death
bag.
bag.
Death bag.
That's bad.
With my death bag.
No, that's I don't know though. That made me like I teared up with her and shit because it made me like think if I was to get that, like let's say I'm 20, or I'm 10 years from that, or whatever, 20 years from that, whatever.
What do you want to say, buddy?
But I'm not far from 50, and there's people that get it at 35 or 40 and shit like that. It's getting to be more
He
common.
got it at 32.
Yeah. So it
Damn.
makes me wonder, like, that's what that urgency comes from. Or I feel like even when I do a shitload of things, that I'm wasting the day because any day doing anything is a waste when you're faced with death.
No.
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Or you
because you
could
could
look at
never
it
do
as
enough. I could never spend enough time with you to make this life worth it. You're going to die, I'm going to die, and I'm going to be sad about that. I could
Whatever.
never have enough
Let's
conversation.
just say you spent every waking minute with her. Mm-hmm. That would be too damn much.
I don't know. I try my hardest.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you be tired of this motherfucker by then?
She would get tired of me before
30
well, I don't know.
years
I'd probably
of
kill her.
waking time.
Oh, maybe 30 years of never sleeping in every single second.
No. Like you go to sleep, he's there. You wake up, he's there. And everything in between, he's there.
Yeah, I would love that.
Oh, God.
That'd be
not-
fucking awesome. That's like the
horrible.
goal. That's like why we started our own thing, was so that we could eventually.
Yeah.
I'd say after about
Hopefully be
7 years, Casper, get out of my face.
Out of my face.
Take a vacation.
No, that's it was odd that, when we got hit all that stuff, I wake up and that's the only thing like I had on my mind. I was like, I gotta start my own thing. And there's times that we annoy each other because we're together most of
You
the time.
guys are Sam and Dean.
We are Sam and
Always.
Dean, yeah. Except we
But it-
fuck, but yeah.
They did too.
Oh, they absolutely
Oh
did.
yeah, they
Yeah.
did for sure. But no, dude, I don't know. There's never gonna be enough time to make life in general enough or
Well,
worth
let that
it or
drive
whatever.
you to make better choices.
Oh, I'm hoping so. Yeah.
No.
But
do
couldn't you look at it as, since you are going to die, then everything you do is like.
Oh, it's
is
essentially
worth
yeah.
it.
Like I
Yeah.
got to do this because my life depends on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, there's definitely ways to look at, but that's I think why I always feel like I wasted the day or the things that I've done are a waste is because I'm like I'm gonna die. Was it really important to me? Like, and why was it important to me? So I gotta like make my reasons line up because if
Right.
not, I don't feel right about it.
Yeah.
Or like the time spent with your significant other. Or
How
you're
often do
spending
you
it out.
think you're wasting your time?
A lot.
Oh. What do you do about that?
Very little.
I'm wasting it, but I got plenty of it.
No, I don't have plenty of it, but like the motivation Adam gets from knowing that he's going to die and that he needs to make the most out of life is kind of more of a calming that for me it's not a motivation. It's just I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna struggle to die. I'm gonna find a way that I can make things happen and do what I want and try to make it better for certain people while I'm here, but doesn't have to be today.
Do you think your motivation stopped once you started having kids?
No, it stopped way before that. Way before that.
That's awesome.
Like
All right.
when I started thinking about infinite possibilities, that slowly decayed my motivation. So I'm thinking like middle school.
God.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right. So
I'm not saying it was like overnight I had no
No,
motivation, but
He was
That's
like,
when
I
the
turned
seed was
13 and
planted.
thought, fuck this.
I read Michael Crichton and it was just gone.
If Crichton can't do everything, I can't either.
Couch told me a quote the other day that I loved. Where are you, Couch? He was like, things are
Probably
so
doing
different.
Something stupid.
No, it was great. It was a Michael Crichton.
I know he's
quote.
probably doing something stupid
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
It was
Just
like,
fuck him.
Hey,
I'll
Couch.
butcher it, but it was something to the extent of things are so different. Nowadays, you read a book and you have a question or two. Back in my day, I read a book about dinosaurs and learned how to, DNA sequence was made and created.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
His books do go pretty in depth.
You learn
I don't read
things you
them.
don't intentionally.
So I don't like books.
You just had a book in here just a minute ago.
You have
That's
two.
different.
He's been bringing a book a week for like 3 months.
But I think
That's different.
I think that comes into one of my theories in life is that we have to get away from the mindset that things are black and white. Morality, death, the way things are interpretations. Because, like, Adam has motivation from death. I don't. I don't know where I get my motivation. When it comes, and it doesn't. But thinking that, okay, well, I see death as one of those things that needs to be accepted by everybody, and a lot of people, that may destroy their life. They may think like once they accept death, they're like, okay, I'm done. Let's go. Let's end it now.
Yeah.
And they never had that thought in their mind before. They weren't on that path at all. But I don't know.
They are.
But accepting that it's not just one way for everybody and another for everybody is kind of
guess I
that
can
gray
kinda
area.
see that.
Gray area.
It used to be the kind of thing like if I knew I had to cut grass later in the week, it would just ruin every day up to that.
Mm-hmm.
So like with people, they're like, I know I'm gonna die someday. Every day is garbage. Who cares? Yeah.
What's that have to do with you cutting the grass?
Every day up
It's
to
an
it.
example. Yeah, every
Yeah,
day
grass-
up
But,
to
like,
it was
what
terrible.
about- cutting is
the
death.
day? What about the day?
Is-
Every day is garbage then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
except the day you cut the grass, which is the day that defines everything else.
Yes.
So is
It's
that
like
day
office
garbage?
space. Yeah. Every
That
day
day's
is-
also garbage.
every day is
yes,
worse than-
because he's cutting
Yeah.
grass.
Because the next
Yeah.
day.
I'm cutting grass, and then after I cut it, it's like, oh, now I'm tired. Fuck.
But what does
And
that
then I'll
make you
wake up
feel?
and I'm
Like-
oh.
Like beyond just the base of avoidance or need to make it the cycle end. What else does it create and imply?
Well, then grass cutting just becomes symbolic of everything else in life that I don't want to do. And it's like, oh, I know it's filled with all kinds of good shit that I enjoy doing from time to time, but there's
So-
a never-ending stream of crap I don't want to do.
Right. But what do you do to take your mind off the fact that you're gonna have a never-ending stream of crap that you have to do?
I get drunk,
Well, there.
and then I cut the grass. And then I realize it's 90 degrees and I'm dehydrated.
What do you do while you're drunk before you cut the grass?
Sit around, read mostly, play with the
Those
cat.
books that he hates.
Books that you hate?
Oh no, those aren't. No, this is different. Yeah.
I'm lost. I don't know what's going on.
Sometimes I'll smoke weed, because I think it connects me to the trees, and then I can talk to the plant life and the bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm high, the bugs usually don't get in my path. But when I'm drunk, they're just there. And I'm like, get the fuck out of the way. And then when I'm not.
What are
I'm
you
like,
doing here, bugs?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, hey, buddy, I'm about to cut over there. Oh, okay, I'll move.
Now, when I tell you the bugs aren't really there, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, that's fine. They're there to me.
That's right. Your reality is not his.
Yeah.
Oh, never.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I was having a thought in my head to where like the individualistic idea of death can motivate, like say Alexander Graham Bell was motivated because he was afraid to die and wanted to be remembered and created good out of it.
Yeah.
So there's always another side or that non-duality to it that it's different for everybody.
Like, there are some people I can see to where, like, if they feel like they have a calling in life or whatever, something that they actually need to accomplish and create, then I could see that where it's like, oh, I have to finish this before I die. But then I think in terms of, like, the common person to where they're just like, all right, well, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to pay my bills, I'm going to retire when I'm 65, whatever. Then it's like, But if you have, like, a light at the end of the tunnel, like with Adam and his creative ass, it'd be like, well, I have to finish this before I die.
His light being death.
Hey, it's a lot.
It is a light.
Yeah.
It's a good light.
If you can die before you die, then you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
Right? Die before you die.
That's right.
So is the accomplishment the goal, the journey the goal, or is it different for everybody?
That's
Journey.
different for everybody.
Pen?
Some people don't even
Thank
think at all in terms of what we're talking about.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, I never think
Most
about
people
death.
don't.
I just want an
That
ice
was
cream
good.
cone and some Law and Order.
Absolutely. I think the cat just shit. I need
Cone.
to scoop
Yeah.
it.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that kind of shit drives me nuts. I want no part of that.
Mine?
Yeah, that kind of shit, yeah.
Why?
I mean, there's joy in it, but
you.
I can't think in terms of that, like,
Huh.
on a regular basis. It's just, I do have to poop, though.
Like presently?
Yeah,
I'll go
Oh.
poop.
like this very moment.
Oh, I think we're.
Is
pretty
it, well,
damn
he
close.
takes forever to poop.
Oh,
Yeah, I take
okay.
forever to poop, and I've been
Oh, well, I don't
trapped in
need a
here the whole
pen. Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's I was wondering, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You like my visor?
Everyone,
This is what you want to talk
Movies.
about?
Yeah.
Movies.
don't let Ian poop. Movie.
Man, we appreciate you joining us
Yeah,
again for
thanks,
151.
Hey,
dude.
you don't have any questions? You're supposed to have questions for
I
us.
didn't have questions.
You
just now.
motherfucker.
Wrap it up, Adam.
Yeah, man, that was.
Jesus. Come up with them right now. Sit there and think about it as long as you need.
Okay.
You gotta take a shit. That was episode 151. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Danny Tyler, for
Thanks,
joining
D.
us.
Yeah.
Coming all the way over
dinner.
here. We appreciate you having. I hope you had fun. We
Hope
appreciate
you had fun.
having you.
Thanks for coming. If you made it this far, like and subscribe.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Wildly uninteresting podcast.